Welcome back to another episode of the Profitable Home Services Podcast. This is the show where we uncover hidden profit leaks, we shine a light on numbers that actually matter, and help home service business owners just like you build more profitable and sustainable companies. I'm your host, Diane Gardner, and today we're going to dig into a topic that generally doesn't show up on your profit and loss or any of your other financial reports, but it absolutely can impact your numbers. Today we're talking about money mindset blocks and how they may be quietly sabotaging your pricing, your profits, and even your peace of mind. Well, first of all, what is a money mindset block? You may be thinking, I don't even know what she's talking about. So let's start with the basics. A money mindset block is simply a belief, and oftentimes it's unconscious. We don't even know we have it. And this belief limits your ability to earn, to keep, or to grow your money. And these beliefs are generally around something to do with money. They shape how you offer your services, they shape how you pay your team, and they shape whether or not that you actually invest in growth or even how you react when things go wrong financially or even in other areas of your business. These are sneaky little things that just sit back there and you don't even know they're there. But they're just kind of picking away at you all the time. You may think your pricing's fair or that your customers just can't afford to pay you more, or that investing in marketing seems awfully risky. But what if these thoughts aren't facts? What if they're just beliefs? Things that have been simmering around in your head for many years. I'm going to tell you just a little story coming from my own business. Several years ago now, I had a team of accountants and bookkeepers, and we were trying to hit a certain financial goal. And I could not seem to hit it. It didn't matter what I did. We just kept plateauing out about 100,000 less than the goal we were trying to hit. And I tried rearranging this and rearranging that and fixing this and fixing that. And finally, we got into the conversation of money mindset. And lo and behold, I realized that I had a mindset block that was limiting me. And that mindset block was, I don't deserve to move up and to have this big of a business. I'm just me. I'm nothing special. I've nothing special to offer to the world. There's no reason for somebody to be paying me, let alone paying me premium fees. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of it. And that little subconscious thought was holding me back from being able to pivot my company into a profitable company, which is the company that now serves you today. But it took a lot of digging to get in there and realize that that little belief held me back for several years. What beliefs are holding you back? Do you have something sitting back there in the back of your mind you may not even be aware of? So let's go through a few common ones so you can see what we're talking about. Here's one I hear quite often. My customers won't pay more. Well, how do you know? Have you asked them? The translation on that is you're assuming price resistance before you even present the value. And often you're pricing from your own wallet, not theirs. There's a saying out there that says, get out of your customer's wallet. Price from their perspective, not yours. Price from the value that you're giving, not on what you think somebody is perceiving it at. That's an important one. My customers won't pay more. But what if they will? So we want to be aware of these. Another one, profit is greedy. Oh, some of us grew up with this one, those big greedy corporations out there. You know, we've heard the media go on and on and on about that. Well, this one hits hard, especially for those of you who have come up by paying your dues out in the field, and then you finally started your own business, and now you're growing a business. But you got into your own business because you wanted to do it better. You saw how the person you were working for ran their business, and you thought, there's a better way. I know I did. That's when I went out on my own. There's a better way to do this. I wanted to give a higher level of customer service. I wanted to be more approachable than the accountants that I had worked for. But if there's no margin or no gross profit, then there is no mission. The profit that we earn from our products and the services that we provide helps fund your team's pay, helps pay for your retirement and their retirement, helps pay for the building that you're in for your business, helps pay for your dreams of your individual team members as well as your own dreams, helps pay for training so that you can do things better and have for a higher level of services to your customers. So profit is necessary. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. That's a big mindset shift. Another one is I have to do everything myself to keep costs down. This is a big one for a lot of people. I see them running around just putting out fires all day long, and I want to give them a fireman's coat and a hose. Oftentimes, this is a result of being stuck. You know that delegating is needed, but you may not know how or what to even delegate. Because as long as you do it, it gets done right, at least according to your definition of right. But when you learn to delegate, you can multiply your own personal efforts. And now you can concentrate on another area in your business because you've got somebody doing the task or the project that you were doing previously. Delegating is a huge one, and letting go of the control. For a lot of people, that's really hard, especially most of us as owners. We've built this thing from the ground up, it's our baby. And letting go is really, really hard. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do everything yourself. Another one I hear very, very often is, I'm not good with money, or I'm not good with numbers. Diane, you're the accountant. You're the one who's good with money and numbers. No, and I will say you also are good with money and numbers. Just need to believe that about yourself. By hiding behind this mindset, this keeps you from looking at your financials and learning how to read them. It keeps you from monitoring your numbers and tracking your numbers, whether it's sales per employee, what your gross profit is, net profit, what's the ROI on sales to your assets, just all these different KPIs we can be tracking. What's your turnaround time, your number of leads, how quickly you're getting your jobs done. Just there's so many things that could be tracked in your business, but if you tell yourself, I'm not good with money or I'm not good with numbers, it gives you an easy out. By putting together a system that allows you to track these numbers, and it may not even be you personally, it might be somebody else in the company, you can become good with numbers and then with money. So these are just a few. We're going to dig in a few more here in just a little bit. But I want to dig in a little bit of where do these beliefs come from? Oftentimes they come from how we were raised. Experiences from our early childhood, comments we heard our parents or other family members make, or even friends of our family. Sometimes it comes from the early years of being in business when we didn't know really what we were doing, but we were there in business. These beliefs can come from a variety of places. And if you stop and think about it, back when you were first in business, if your customers haggled over the price, or you started out with not enough money, capital behind you to really get the company flowing, so you were struggling constantly, how to make payroll, let alone pay yourself, if your parents argued about money. There was never enough money in your household. Those patterns very likely are still influencing you today. So take a moment and just think back over your childhood and over your earlier adult years or your teen years. What was the messaging around money that you heard? What did you subconsciously pick up on? Because we can't fix these money mindsets if we aren't aware of them. And this is one of the topics that we get into in my Profit Transformer and my Profit Amplifier coaching groups. This is an important one, money mindset. Because money is not good and it's not evil. It is just a tool, like any other tool in your toolbox, that can be used to grow your company. And once we can take away that stigma of money is good or money is bad, then we're able to start using it to grow our business. So I want to give you just a quick little example of somebody that we've worked with in the past. And this is Mike, and he owns an HVAC company doing about $2.5 million a year in sales. For several years, he resisted raising his prices. Number one, because his price book wasn't current, and it was so much work to bring the thing current because he wasn't on one of the softwares that helped to keep that price book current for him. But he didn't have systems and stuff in place that kept them to, to be an efficient company. And so his team was doing a lot of overtime work. He didn't have good control over his payroll numbers. And as a result of all these things, his profit margin was very, very thin. He was bleeding cash out in the overhead side. Well, once we dug into his books, we got down into the money mindset block that said he didn't want to feel like one of those greedy business owners. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, yep, that's me. I don't want to be greedy. I just need enough to keep things going. I'll be good. But as we helped Mike reframe his mindset to realize that profit was a tool that allowed him to take better care of his team, a tool that allowed him to take better care of his customers, a tool that allowed him to take better care of his family, he was able to give himself permission to change his prices and charge appropriately so that we had the profit margin that we needed so that we could go ahead and cover all those other costs. It ended up doing a 12% price increase, but it wasn't all done at once. We worked it up gradually so that his customers didn't have sticker shock. But once we were able to get to that 12% price increase, he was able to offer some benefits to his team. And I'm happy to say that he and his family were able to take a real vacation. He had not taken time away from that business for years. So this is just one example of how this money mindset, in his case of not wanting to be a greedy business owner, was holding him back. He was working way too hard and had nothing to show for it. So this is just a common example, things that we see quite a bit in our coaching programs. So how do you break free from these various money mindset traps? How are you able to turn your brain around and start looking at it from a different direction? Well, our first step is being aware. If you're not even aware that these things are happening in your business and in your own mind, you certainly can't fix them or make them better. So start noticing where you hesitate when it comes to money decisions. Pay attention. Let that antenna be up. The next thing would be to separate fact from fear. Now, you may be familiar with the saying that fear is false evidence appearing real. So if you look at things that are fearful to you, usually there's something false that's causing it to be fearful. Now, not always, but usually. So we want to look at the actual data that's in your business. And this is where a coach can come in because a coach can look at things with a different mindset and without the emotions that come with being the owner of the business. And we can help to determine if that's fact or if it's really fear. So be thinking about that, separating fact from fear. The next thing is embracing your numbers. A strong pricing strategy, or even something like implementing profit first. You hear me talk about that all the time. Implementing profit first, which results in a plan for how we're going to become more profitable over time, can help you become comfortable with your numbers and comfortable with breaking through various revenue goals or ceilings that you've been hitting in your business. Another way that we can shift our money mindset is to surround yourself with other small business owners who think bigger than you do. Stop and think about that one. Are you involved in a group of some sort, a mastermind group, some sort of a group where you are around people who are more successful than you are? Stepping up to play in their world, even if you're not all the way there yet financially, it will help expose you to bigger thinking. Who is in your peer group? Do we have people in your peer group who is pulling you down? I know for myself, I've had a few friends over the years that I've gradually eased myself away from them because they had a very negative mindset when it came to money. And I could feel that it was affecting me in my own business. And so I moved away from them and started hanging out with people who were more successful than myself. And that did wonders for helping me to fix some of my own money mindset blocks. I want to go through some of the specific mindset blocks and possibly some ideas on how we can overcome them. I'm going to go back to that first block that we talked about that says my customers won't pay more. It might sound like this as coming out of your mouth. People in my town are cheap. If I raise my prices, I'll lose business. Now, some of these are really easy when you live in a smaller geographical area. It's easy to think people in this area won't pay this kind of price. Maybe they will in the bigger cities, but not in our smaller town. How do we overcome that? Well, do a competitor pricing analysis to compare your value and your positioning. What can you offer differently than your competitors offer that has a higher perceived value that your customers would love to have? Focus on value-based selling, not just time and materials. We're able to provide this type of a service. If you can bundle things together, they sound higher value because they are higher value. Can you add small enhancements? Things like priority scheduling, extended warranties, some sort of a cleaner service, maybe even a membership service of some sort. And then practice saying your new price until it becomes natural. Practice it and practice it and practice it till it just rolls off your tongue. I'm going to go with another one that I feel is very common is I feel guilty for making a profit. And that goes back to that one we had earlier. What does this sound like? It sounds like I just want to do honest work. Well, we all want to do honest work, but we need to be paid for it or we can't pay our team, we can't cover our costs. We can't pay our taxes, our insurance, all those things that come along with owning a business. Or it might sound like profit feels greedy. Well, without profit, we can't have any of the other things that we're wanting in our business and in our life. So, ways we can overcome it is we might reframe profit. It's just a tool that pays your team, serves your customers better, and it builds a stable business. Here again, getting away from that idea that money is good or bad. Set a profit with purpose goal, like maybe starting a 401k plan or donating to a local charity or some other cause in your town, something along those lines. Give it a purpose, give it a reason for being there. And then, of course, read Profit First and begin to implement its system. Reach out to me. I'm happy to have a Profit First talk. I love talking about Profit First. It will transform the way you think and the way you do your business. Okay, our next one is I'm not good with money. What does this sound like? This is the one going back to I leave that up to my bookkeeper. Or I don't understand the numbers. They're confusing. Well, how can we overcome it? Start with one number. Maybe it's your gross profit percentage. Learn it, track it, improve it over time. If your gross profit percentage maybe is only 20 or 22%, how can we improve it to get it up to 35%? What does it take to get it there? What do we need to do? Start tracking just one number, and you'll see it makes a big difference in your business. Another idea on how to overcome it is join a coaching group or a peer mastermind group. I know I belong to a couple different mastermind groups, and they're amazing because there's people in there with ideas on things I would never have thought of myself. But because I'm a part of their group, I'm able to take their ideas and implement them in my own business. Helps me to think bigger. Another way to overcome this I'm not good with money block is to use some sort of a simple dashboard or a tool to be able to watch your pricing and some KPIs on a monthly basis. Maybe we're only tracking 2 or 3 or 4 numbers each month, but let's start somewhere. Even if you only start with one, start somewhere. Okay, block number 4, I have to do everything myself to save money. What does this sound like? Well, you might hear the phrase similar to, no one else can do it like I do, or hiring's too expensive. I'm sure you've heard some variation of that from somebody in your life. How can we overcome it? Well, we might sit down and spend a little bit of time and calculate out your own hourly rate as the business owner and then compare it to what you're doing. When I've done this exercise with people in my coaching group, oftentimes their hourly rate comes out to be somewhere in the $200 to $300 an hour range. And when they look at that, then they realize they shouldn't be the person doing $15 or $20 an hour work. We should be able to find somebody else who can take care of those pieces for us. But if we don't know what our time is worth, then how in the world can we ever look at it from that lens? Start by delegating one task. Just find one small, simple thing that you can delegate. Be sure you give clear instruction to the person you're delegating it to. Don't just do a drive-by delegate where you, in passing, hand off a task to somebody and keep on going. Give clear instruction. Make sure they understand what they're supposed to be doing. But just start with one. And if that one works well, then try another one. And pretty soon you'll find you are delegating all of those lower end type tasks that can be done by a much lower end person. You might also hire a part-time helper, whether it's in person or virtual, to help you with, again, some of these other types of tasks. Maybe it's an apprentice, somebody coming in from one of the trade schools or something along those lines. They're great people to delegate these lower end tasks to, and it gives the person a chance to learn some new skills that they may not learn otherwise. So you're working to help yourself and you're working to help them. Okay, block number 5 says I have to lower prices to get in more work. And this one sounds like I can't compete if I charge more. Or people shop by price. Do you know that oftentimes people ask about your price before anything else simply because they don't know what else to ask for? They don't really understand what you're doing. And so, therefore, the first question out of their mind will be your price. They're simply asking for more information when they go there first. Help me understand what you're doing. I see this thing sitting there and I don't know how it operates or how it works. What does your process look like? What's your system look like? So, ways to overcome that is use some social proof and testimonials to highlight your value. Build a client experience or a customer experience that feels premium. You have a higher communication level. Your trucks and your vans are clean. Your tech uniforms are clean when they go to somebody's house. They clean up after themselves. You'd never know they were there because they did such a good job of cleaning up after themselves. I think I used a contractor to help remodel my office building, and every day, at the end of the day, my husband would come down here and clean up after that contractor because he had left such a mess. His team did. It was disgusting every day. And we felt like, why is it such a mess in my building all the time? That was not a good impression. And of course, we'll never use him again as a contractor. But what can you do to give your customers a better experience all the way from the time they place that first phone call or they go to your website all the way through finishing the job? Map out, what does that experience currently look at? Get your team to brainstorm with you. How can you come up with ways to make it better? Are there friction points that you can take out? And then identify your ideal customer. Not every lead is an ideal customer. In my own business, I say no to over half the people that want to work with us because they don't fit our model for what is our ideal client. What does your ideal customer look like? Where do they live? What kind of home do they own? How much do they earn? Do they have kids or are they older? Do they have certain beliefs? Do they congregate in certain areas? Do they own a certain type of vehicles? There's a lot you can learn about your customers and identifying who you really like to work for. I know many, many years ago, when we were trying to figure out what kind of a niche should we move into, we were going through our client list and determine who do we enjoy the most working with. We had a roofer that we still love working with to this day, and we had a client who installed elevators on upper quality type homes around one of the lakes here locally. And from working with those two people is how we pivoted over and started doing work out in the home services industry because we liked those two clients so much that we said we want more of them. So think about your customers. Who are your favorite customers? The ones when you see their names, you're like, oh, good, I get to talk to so and so. And now, how do we duplicate that? How do we find more of them? This will really get around that money block if I have to have lower prices to get work, because you really don't. Customers will pay for that better experience. They'll pay for feeling special and feeling valued by you. The next block, number 6, is I don't deserve to make more than my employees. Ooh, I struggled with that one for many years too. Some of these are hitting close to home for me today. This one might sound like they work just as hard as I do, or I don't want to look selfish. Here's how we can overcome this one. Remember, you, the business owner, are carrying the risk of the business. You make the decisions constantly all day long that move your business forward. You invest time way beyond normal operating hours. I know many of you are the first one in the door and the last one out the door at night. You're down there on the weekends and things when your team's not there. Therefore, you can't compare what you do to your various team members. Another way to overcome it is to track how many unpaid hours that you spend working on your business. Now, working on your business is different than working in your business. Working in your business is out there in the field doing the work and stuff that needs to happen. It's managing your employees, it's doing all the stuff that keeps the business rolling. But working on your business, that is the development of where your business is going. That might be attending a training of some sort, going to a conference, hopping on a mastermind group call, spending time with a coach like myself who can help increase your profits. It might be doing that kind of stuff. So, how much of that time are you putting into your business? There needs to be a return on that investment for you. Our next block, number 7, is business is feast or famine, and that's just how it is. That one might sound like summers are great, but winters are always slow. Or that's just how it goes in this industry. I've heard lots of that one over the years as well. Well, some things we might think about to overcome that one is how can we create recurring revenue streams? Think about maintenance plans, membership programs, service contracts, those types of things to kind of take the highs and the lows out of your income, even it out a bit over the course of the year. Another way for overcoming this is to build out a 12-month marketing calendar so we can flatten those peaks and those valleys. We always know that it tends to be slow in a particular time of year. So 2 or 3 months in advance, we're working on how can we make that different. Analyze your prior year's trends so that you can plan for those slow months with a proactive offer or maybe with a financing offer. Think outside the box. What can we do to fill in that slower time of the year? Now, some of it may be controlled by weather. I think of where I live in northern Idaho. My roofing companies get hit pretty hard in the winter because of snow and ice and things like that. Well, is there another service that they can offer during those winter months when they can't be up on a roof? So, getting creative sometimes, think outside the box, look outside your industry, and see what you can come up with for ways to flatten that out. My last one, number 8, says, I can't invest in myself or my business right now. This one might sound like, I'll get help once I'm making more, or now's not a good time. I hear this sometimes on prospect calls. Yeah, this sounds great, Diane. I'd really love to work with you, join one of your coaching groups, but now's not a good time. Well, there's no better time than today. I was recently on a call with a prospect where I had talked to him a couple years ago, and he had big goals for where his company was going. And when I went back and revisited those goals with him, we found that he had not attained any of them. He was in the same spot today as he was 2 years ago. Well, now is the time. Now is the time to invest in a coaching program, getting a profit coach who can help you start changing your business around, start turning it into a better position to where you become more profitable. So I'm hoping you found some great value in all of this and that you will share this episode out with your friends and other home service business owners. Just want to remind you, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. It's that profit that is the important piece. If you found value in today's episode, would you please take a moment to leave a review? Share this episode with another home service business. Also, we're always looking for great podcast guests. If you know of people, you've heard of somebody else on another podcast, we're always looking for great podcast guests. You might want to go out to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe as we're trying to build our listeners out there as well. If you would like some help identifying profit leaks and building out your pricing and your service structure so that you can see growth and profit increases in your company, please reach out. We'd love to help. Our coaching programs are built to help home service business owners just like you increase those profits and increase your cash flow because we want you taking your profits first. We want you to be able to hire the best team out there. And we want you to enjoy your business, to love your business. We want your family to love your business because you're able to spend time home with them when you need to be there. You're able to take family vacations and those types of things. So keep listening. We thank you so much for listening with each of our episodes. We know you're busy. We know your time is valuable. Thank you for choosing to spend part of your day with us today. Thank you again. We'll catch you on the next episode.